In today's video, I want to explain how to be strategic in pursuit of your dream job in such a way that you save time and you save money. My name is Mike, and I've helped hundreds of new graduates and young professionals with their career coaching, be it resumes, cover letters, interviews, general advice. Thanks for watching. Let's hop into it. So you've decided you want to be a doctor or a veterinarian, a real estate agent, an insurance broker. You know you're destined to be a 9-to-5er working in that corporate world, not necessarily a digital nomad or anything like that. But how are you going to get that dream 9-to-5 job? Do you know? It's not always a straight line, right? Sometimes we need certain stepping stones in order to get there, whether that's education, certification, job experience. It's different, obviously, for each profession. But you do have to think about how you're going to build up those skills, that expertise. And you need to think about how to be strategic in doing so that you don't waste time and you don't waste money. Maybe you're at your current role and you're thinking about, how do I move up? Or maybe you're currently working on the education part and you're thinking, okay, what are my next moves? What are those career stepping stones? I'm going to have to work here for 2 years. I might have to get some experience with this in order to then ultimately convince someone to give you the dream job. There's always strategy involved. And I think the more strategic you can be, the more efficient that path will be, the quicker you can have your dream job, which ultimately I'm sure will pay you more money than those stepping stone jobs and will make you happier because you will have fulfilled your goal. The most important message out of today's video is that you do indeed need to be strategic about pursuing your dream job. Right? Once you know what it is, once you know what you want to be when you grow up, you can't just shout it out and expect it to happen. You do have to think about the steps that you need to take to get there. You have to think about the qualifications that you might need to get there. I'll speak from my own experience, and that is I knew what career I wanted probably in my first semester of my undergraduate degree. So I was probably 19 years old or so. And let me just say it took probably 6 years of stepping stones, of different jobs, of further education. I went and got a master's degree. I worked several different co-op jobs and then other 9-to-5 jobs before I finally landed on my current job, and then I'm just slowly moving up at my current job. But the point that I'm trying to make is that there are certain steps involved. My first piece of advice when thinking about how to be strategic in pursuit of your dream job is to find job postings for this role and look at the specific job responsibilities and qualifications that are on the job listings. This might seem obvious, but obviously the most important place to look is at the actual job listings for the career that you want, right? It will genuinely have a list of things. You need to have this level of education. You have to have a master's degree, or maybe it's you have to have a bachelor's degree in communications. You have to have a bachelor's degree in something. Maybe it doesn't say that, and it says you need to be certified in this. You had to have taken first aid level 2. Whatever the case may be, that's your best resource. That almost functions as a roadmap. It tells you exactly the things that you need to collect and build and add to your resume in order to ultimately compete for that dream job and be offered it later in the future. So my advice is to genuinely take a look, get familiar finding these job listings, and write these things down. This is the to-do list, essentially, of the things that you need to acquire, the experiences that you need to get in order to be competitive in that space. The second option is to find people, potentially on LinkedIn or through your network somehow, who have the same job, who are in this career that you might be able to reach out to, set up a little bit of an informational interview with this person and simply ask them about their experience. You know, how did they get into insurance? How did they become a marketing professional, right? Whatever the case may be. First-hand experience. Get their suggestions. Find out what qualifications they've done, what certifications they've done. Was additional training required, education required, etc. The key here is to weed out the educational programs, the certifications, the trainings. There's a million of them out there. You want to weed out the ones that aren't actually going to get you any closer to the dream job. because those ones are a waste of your time and a waste of your money. Some of them will be valuable, the ones on the list, but other things which are career adjacent, that are related but not necessarily required for the job that you're going to do, those ones you need to approach very carefully, because you don't want to waste time doing a 1-year certification that when you get into the job interview and you mention it, the hiring manager's like, yeah, that's neat, cool. You only want to focus on additional pieces of education, training, certifications, etc., that are directly related to the job that you want, that are directly moving the needle towards you getting that job. The key is to find the direct correlation between putting the money and time into this specific thing, education, course, certification, training, and getting closer to your dream job. The weaker the correlation, the less I suggest you pursue it. The greater risk that you do it, and that ultimately it doesn't mean much when it comes time to you're putting it on your resume, explaining it in the job interview. Unless it's moving you towards actually sealing the deal and getting the job, I think it's riskier to pursue. All along the way, as you're sifting through the internet, and you're talking to people and you're looking at job listings, you have to be asking yourself, is that helping me get the dream job? Check in, reflect, think on that. Stay up to date on the industry also. This can be a pretty lengthy process. Like I said, it took me 5 or 6 years, and the industry changed a little. At one point, it was like, you have to be eligible for this membership. Now it's sort of like, you know what? They actually want you to be a member on some of the more competitive postings. That's a big difference. So make sure you're staying up to date on current trends in the industry as well. Don't just look once when you're 19 and then check in again when you're 25. Try and stay focused on that North Star and make all your decisions accordingly. Now, before you decide to put your money in, right, or to enroll in that course or whatever the case may be, picture yourself explaining the connection between doing this opportunity and the dream job. Imagine yourself sitting in the job interview and explaining, well, I know I can do this job because I've done X, Y, and Z. Is it easy to make that connection? Are you selling it a bit? Do you have to stretch a little bit to be like, well, because I did this training, kind of, relates to this. Both of them make me more professional. You want to stay away from those ones. We don't want you to have to do a sales job in the job interview explaining how this $2,000 course that you did is kind of related to the dream job that you want. That's where you've gone wrong. So to summarize, we want your time and energy to be focused on training, certifications, job experience, volunteer experience that's directly correlated to the ultimate goal, to your dream job. Things that will give you the skills and the knowledge that are actually listed on the job listings, right? That people who do the job have told you, hey, you're going to need to be a really good negotiator, so you'd better take that negotiation course. Whatever it is, that's just an example. Let's imagine for a second that we're on the hiring committee and we've received 2 different applications for someone who wants to become a lawyer. Okay, we've received 2 different applications for this lawyer position that we have. Both people want to apply and be a lawyer at our firm, okay? The one person says, currently, I'm a policy analyst. I spend my 9 to 5 currently reviewing legislation. Prior to that, I was a legal assistant at a law firm. So I wasn't a lawyer, but I do have some experience working at a law firm as a legal assistant. And then prior to that, I also worked at a notary public. So I'm familiar working with legal documents and so on and so forth. Then let's picture the second person, okay? They explain their history. They say, well, you know what? I worked at a restaurant growing up until recently. I took a law class in high school that I really liked. And you know what? My favorite show is Suits. I've seen every episode. Obviously, you can see between person number 1 and person number 2, one of them has skills that are directly related to being a lawyer. And the other one has adjacent skills. They have adjacent experience that shows that they're interested in it, sure, but it doesn't show that they've actually taken practical steps to build skills and experience in the industry that tells me that they're equipped to be a lawyer, right? Being a fan, enjoying your law school class in high school and being a fan of Law and Order on TV doesn't mean that you necessarily can be a lawyer. Whereas somebody who, yeah, I reviewed legislation, I worked in a legal office before, so I'm familiar with the environment. That's great, right? So hopefully these two examples have illustrated the difference between pursuing things that are correlated, right, and pursuing things that are not correlated, or showing up to an interview where you're trying to extrapolate from things that are less related to the actual job. That's not the position that you want to be in. It shows that you're interested, you're passionate in the subject matter, but it doesn't actually allow you to demonstrate that you have the skills necessary to do the job. And so that's why it's very important when you're young, maybe you're just out of high school and you're thinking about what's my next move? What skills should I get? What training should I do? Do I need a degree? Do I have to go to college? Be selective. Be strategic in your pursuit, in your investments in yourself. It's always good to invest in yourself. None of it will go to waste. So I hope I didn't make it sound like it's a complete waste of your time. Investing in yourself is always great. But in terms of pursuing your career, I want you to be strategic. I want you to really think about what's going to move the needle and get you there the fastest, the cheapest, without any wasted movements in between, wasted certifications that don't matter, wasted training that's not even on the job listing. We want to avoid those as much as we can. If you can do those things, you're working smarter, you're not working harder, and you're putting yourself in the best position to ultimately reach your destination of your dream job in as fast as time as possible with no wasted costs along the way. And I'm sharing this because I've made plenty of those mistakes in my journey and I want you to avoid them. So, thanks for watching. If you found this interesting or inspiring, I appreciate it. If you'd hit the like button, if you'd subscribe, that'd be excellent. Please consider following me along on my journey to 100 videos about earning, saving, investing. We're pretty early on in the journey, so quality should only get better from here. I appreciate you hanging with me, and I'll see you again soon.